Hello again! Welcome to the 5th video in our Intro to BattleMechs series. This series is focused on covering the 8 BattleMechs found in the A Game of Armored Combat box set, which in my opinion is the best way to get into tabletop BattleTech, as it comes with everything needed for 2 players to get right into full games of classic BattleTech. So far we have covered the 20-ton Locust, the 25-ton Commando, the 55-ton Shadowhawk, and the 55-ton Wolverine. Continuing to move up in tonnage, we are now going to take an in-depth look at the 65-ton Catapult, focusing on the history and variants provided from the Star League era, through the Succession Wars, and into the Clan Invasion. First, let's get into the catapults found in the Star League era. In the year 2561, Hollis Incorporated began production on a new close support battle mech for the Terran hegemony in the Star League. This mech, the CPLT-C1 Catapult, was produced in record numbers during its limited production run of 3 years at the state-of-the-art Hollis factory on Cori. The CPLT-C1 has a walking speed of 4, a running speed of 6, and a jumping distance of 4 from its Magna 260 Fusion engine and 4 Anderson Propulsion 21 jump jets. For defense, it mounts 10 tons of Duralex heavy armor. For offense, the CPLT-C1 is equipped with 2 15-tube Holley long-range missile packs and 4 Martel medium lasers. However, it can only carry 16 missiles, limiting its battlefield longevity. All of its weapons combined, it has the potential to output up to 50 damage in a very lucky turn, generating 22 heat in the process. It only has 15 single heat sinks installed, so a pilot needs to vary the weapon usage wisely. The CPLT-C1 Catapult comes in at 1,399 battle value. In 2563, deciding the BattleMech was not quite what they were looking for, the Terran hegemony did not renew their contract with Hollis. However, there were a few more notable catapults produced in this early era. Next, in the year 2563, the CPLT-A1 Catapult variant was introduced. The CPLT-A1 keeps the 464 movement profile. For defense, it adds an additional 2 tons of armor at 12 tons. For offense, it is equipped with 2 LRM-15s, it drops all 4 medium lasers from the previous model to double the missiles it can carry to 32. All of its weapons combined, it has the potential to deal up to 30 damage, but with 15 single heat sinks, it can keep firing without worry. The CPLT-A1 Catapult comes in at 1,285 battle value. This variant is a fairly agile missile boat, but is near useless at close range. The year 2565 brought us the CPLT-C4 Catapult. This variant keeps the 464 movement profile. For defense, it dropped back down to just 10 tons of armor. For offense, it boasts 2 small lasers and upgraded the previous variant's 2 LRM-15s to 2 LRM-20s, along with enough missiles to fire them 24 times. All of its weapons combined, the CPLT-C4 has the potential to deal up to 46 damage a turn. Even though it dropped down to 10 single heat sinks, it's more than enough to cover its weapon fire. The CPLT-C4 Catapult comes in at 1,358 battle value. This variant is arguably more potent at long range than the A1 variant, while also giving it something to defend itself with at close range. In 2603, House Krita gave the Catapult quite the overhaul with its CPLT-K2 Catapult. This variant drops the jump jets, giving it a 460 movement profile. For defense, they added a ton of armor at 11 tons total. For offense, the CPLT-K2 is armed with 2 machine guns, 2 medium lasers, and replaced the 2 LRMs with 2 particle projectile cannons. If all of its weapons are fired, it has the potential to do up to 34 damage, accumulating 26 heat. With only 20 single heat sinks, a pilot may need to keep heat generation in consideration before firing both PPCs. The CPLT-K2 Catapult comes in at 1,319 battle value. The While this variant does not boast the most damage potential, it lacks cluster weapons, which means its weapons will deal their raw damage upon a successful hit. In 2688, Hollis retrofitted its Catapult for a Star League Royal variant known as the CPLT-C1B Catapult. This variant has a 464 movement profile. For defense, Hollis replaced the old armor with ferrofibrous armor, effectively giving the CPLT-C1B more armor while still weighing 10 tons. They also added cellular ammunition storage equipment to protect the BattleMech in case of an ammunition explosion. For offense, the CPLT-C1B boasts the original C-1's 4 medium lasers and 2 LRM-15s, but is loaded with enough missiles for longevity. If all of its weapons are fired, it has the slim potential to deal up to 50 damage, generating 22 heat in the process. Unlike the original C1 model, the C1B is equipped with 12 double heat sinks, allowing it to dissipate 24 heat a turn, allowing the pilot more freedom to fire at will. The CPLT-C1B Catapult comes in at 1,570 battle value. Other improvements along these lines were planned for additional Catapult models by Hollis, but the destruction of their quarry plant halted their designs. Now we will head into the Succession Wars era, where we find the introduction of a single catapult. House Kurita produced a relatively unknown prototype catapult in 3047 known as the CPLT-K3 Catapult. It has the same 460 movement profile as the previous K2 variant. For defense, the CPLT-K3 is equipped with 11 tons of armor. For offense, it is loaded with 2 machine guns, 2 medium lasers, but it upgraded the PPCs from the K2 to extended range PPCs, making it incredibly lethal at long and short range. When all weapons are fired, it has the potential to deal up to 34 damage and generating 36 heat in the process. The CPLT-K3 is equipped with 20 double heat sinks, able to sink 40 heat in a single turn, so the PPCs cease to become an issue on this model. The CPLT-K3 Catapult comes in at 1,437 battle value. Finally, let's review the catapults introduced in the Clan Invasion era. The 3055 saw the production of the next variant, the CPLT-C4C Catapult. This variant has a 464 movement profile. For defense, the CPLT-C4C is loaded with 10 tons of armor. For offense, this variant sees a few enhancements from the original C4 model. It has 1 small laser, while the other laser is upgraded to a large laser. It still has 2 LRM-20s and sees the addition of a Beagle active probe. If all weapons are fired, the CPLT-C4C can potentially deal up to 31 damage while generating 22 heat. With 10 double heat sinks, it will be able to absorb 20 heat, so weapon management will need to be minor. The CPLT-C4C comes in at 1,449 battle value. Next up, we have the CPLT-K2K Catapult, produced in 3058 by House Kurita. Like the previous Cretan Catapult variants, this model lacks jump jets, but has a very respectable 5.8 movement profile due to a larger extra light engine. For defense, it is equipped with 13.5 tons of armor. For offense, it is armed with 2 medium lasers and 2 ER-PPCs, relying on no ammunition at all, keeping heavy damage at long range. Firing all weapons at once would potentially deal up to 30 damage, generating 40 heat. However, equipped with 20 double heat sinks able to dissipate 40 heat, this is not an issue the K2K has to worry about. The CPLT-K2K comes in at 1,716 battle value. Next, also produced in 3058, we have another House Kurita variant, the CPLT-K5 Catapult by Yori Mechworks. This variant is quite the departure from previous catapults produced by House Kurita. Unlike the K2, K3, and K2K models, the CPLT-K5 has 4 jump jets, giving the mech a 464 movement profile. For defense, the K5 has an endosteel frame loaded with 12.5 tons of armor. For offense, it's armed with 2 medium pulse lasers and 2 MRM-30s with enough missiles to fire 32 times. It is also equipped with a C3 slave, allowing it to share detailed targeting information with other C3 equipped units. When firing all of its weapons, it is potentially capable of dealing up to a respectable 72 damage on a lucky shot, while generating 28 heat. Able to sink 24 of that heat with its 12 double heat sinks, heat management is not much of an issue. The CPLT-K5 Catapult comes in at 1,457 battle value. That does it for the catapults introduced in those first 3 eras. Now let's take a look at its design quirks. No or minimal arms. This quirk makes it more difficult for the catapult to regain its footing after a fall. It also keeps the mech from being able to perform any physical attacks requiring arms. Weak head armor 1. This quirk reduces the catapult's available head armor by 1. The Catapult is a solid heavy battle mech from the A Game of Armored Combat box. It is a fun mech with an iconic design. Keep in mind to watch the range table in your weapon profiles, as some of these variants' weapons are very difficult to hit at close range. It's meant to be used to harass from a mid or long range distance and has the mobility to keep itself in difficult to target terrain. Since most of the variants rely heavily on cluster damage based weapons, damage output can vary wildly, so keep that in mind. Thanks yet again for watching another video in this series, meant to be a reference for new players trying to understand the lore and utility of their first BattleMechs. Hopefully this was entertaining and educational. If you have any suggestions, questions, comments, or corrections, please leave a comment. We at 12crit are always trying to improve. If you enjoyed this, please press the like button, and if you haven't yet, consider subscribing. In our next BattleMech video, we will cover the Thunderbolt. Uh-oh, mine's not painted yet. I better get to it. Until then, take care of yourselves and we'll see you next time.